Hi guys. So today I wanted to chat about fats. Yesterday I asked in the group, what's your favorite kind of fat? And that was just to get a little bit of engagement of what everyone's eating out there. And so today I wanted to speak about fat sources. So what fats are you eating and where are they classified? So just a nice little quick chat with what kind of fats are you eating? Are they good for you? Could we potentially be eating a little bit less or changing it over to possibly something else? So why is fat needed? So it's obviously super important that we do get fat into our diet because it's a major source of our energy and obviously behind supporting balanced hormones. It's between it's needed for absorbing certain vitamins and minerals, and it's also an important part of building cell membranes in the body, important of lining each cell, which promotes homeostasis and protects cells. It's also a big important factor for there I've said it already, or absorbing vitamins and minerals. So often when we take in a fat, it helps absorb the vitamins and minerals that are even within other proteins and carbs and things like that. So it helps to go together with a lot of other things. We need fats for many bodily processes. So it's really just a great way of just keeping homeostasis in the body, meaning just to keep everything at a running normal. So there are 4 different kinds of fat. So they can be classified as sort of good fats and bad fats in no particular order. These are saturated fats, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and trans fats. So I hope you can tell me what are the good fats, the more likely fats, and the less likely fats. Otherwise, I am going to be telling you today. So just in general, fat plays a important role in your cholesterol levels, and in cholesterol levels you get good fat, just like good fat and bad fat, you get good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. So HDL is considered the good cholesterol found in your blood, and LDL cholesterol is the bad kind. So the key is to keep your LDL low and your HDL high, and that protects you against heart diseases and having things like a stroke. This obviously goes without saying that it can happen nonetheless. Obviously, if other things happen to be the cause, then that is obviously separate. We are obviously just trying to eliminate all other reasons to obviously have heart diseases and strokes and things like that. High levels of LDL, the bad kind, can clog arteries, and low HDL can be a marker for increased cardiovascular risk. So having a stroke and things like that, having serious issues happen. Obviously, again, just a marker. There are other things that go within it. Rather than having the amount of cholesterol you eat, because that often isn't an indicator when you're eating, say, a packet of chips. They aren't always going to tell you the cholesterol's amount. Rather have that influence on your cholesterol levels is actually the fat you consume. So instead of counting cholesterol, which is a lot harder, just think about rather having better fat than the bad fats. So what are the bad fats? The first one, and probably the most likely one that you want to eat, so try avoid this one as much as possible. Excuse me, I've been talking a lot today already, are the trans fats. So the smaller amounts of natural occurring trans fats can be found in meat and dairy, and that's okay, that's better, but the artificial fats are the dangerous ones. So this is the worst type of fat, not only because it raises LDL, but it also lowers HDL, so really not the best. So where can we find these? Basically, any commercial thing or person or place wants to use this as much as possible because these are your cheaper fats, your cheaper oils and things like that. So they put it in pastries, cookies, donuts, muffins, cakes, pizza doughs, packaged snack foods, crackers, microwave popcorn, chips, margarine, the stick margarine, fried foods, French fries, fried chicken, chicken nuggets, breaded fish. So all those super deep fried sort of things, they are deep frying them in that oil. Just because they're using such big batches, it's obviously, like I said, a lot cheaper to use the cheaper kinds of worse fats. Anything hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, even if it claims to be fat-free, these big companies tend to lie to us. I'm hoping and assuming it should be getting a little bit better, because the Consumer Act and things like that should be on our side. But in saying that, it also doesn't help to go blindly into these things. So always just have a read up, have a look up, make sure what you're putting in your mouth is actually what the packaging says you're putting in your mouth, even if that means extra research and things like that. So the big companies tend to want to just make money and sort of go through the lines and lie to us. Very much back in the day, that was a big thing. Like I said, hopefully it's getting better as we go by now. So also considered a bad fat is our saturated fat. Not as harmful as our trans fats. There are claims that saturated fat can impact the heart negatively. So it's also, excuse me, best consumed in lower quantities. There's no need to cut out all saturated fat. It's just recommended down to a 10% level of your daily calories. So if you eat meat, which is grass-fed only, processed meats can contain saturated fats like the bacon, the hot dogs, the sausages. Lunch meats should not be eaten. So those are, again, the sort of cheaper cuts where they just sort of slosh everything together, especially the sausages and those sort of things. What is that called again? No, not pastrami. Oh, I can't even think of the name anymore. Polony, there we go. I don't know if our overseas friends get that a lot, but polony is a big thing here in South Africa, and it's a very cheap cut, sort of, like I said, they just sort of hoard everything together, the odds and ends of everything that's left, and super processed. So not really what we're looking for. I do know that grass-fed meat is a lot more expensive, guys, so try just look for your leaner cuts, and obviously do sort of grass-fed where you can. This cuts out quite a lot of any other issues that could come with that. So I do know that this grass-fed can be an issue, but it's obviously just try do the best that you can. So examples of saturated fats are in your red meats, your chicken skin, your whole fat, dairy products, butter, ice cream, lard, tropical products such as your coconut oil and your palm oil. So again, no need to cut all of these out, just be aware of your intake. So your good fat, and I put all of these in sort of quotations just because there's always a limit to everything, guys. So even though this is considered a good fat, and also our polyunsaturated fat, I'll get there in a second. But even though these are considered good fats, they are still limits. It's not that you can just go balls to the walls with any of these things. Everything's got its quantity, where it's then considered not healthy. So monounsaturated protects the heart, and it would support insulin sensitivity, fat storage, weight loss, and healthy energy levels. So the healthier options are your avos, your macadamia nuts, your olives, and your olive oil. Your less healthy options, but still considered monounsaturated, are your canola oils, your peanuts, and obviously then going into that peanut butter and things like that. So just know, even though there are your healthier options, or your unhealthier still considered healthy options. So just because things are processed and refined, and they're refined down and processed just so much, you want to make sure that you are keeping your quantities in check. Even things like macadamia nuts, guys, like then we're crossing over to how much is too much for calorie counting and things like that, and making sure that can we still manage our weight. You can't just eat 5 hours a day and it's still a very high in calorie thing, even though very good for you, and you want to keep that. So if having fat, think about these kinds of fats rather than your hot dogs and your sausages and those sort of things. So that's more what we're taking into consideration as well. So even though healthier, we're still wanting to think about healthy in the sense of managing our weight and things like that as well. Again, another good fat, in quotation marks, because we get two sort of parts in our polyunsaturated fats, and this is our omega-3s and our omega-6s. So omega-3s are great for you. They reduce inflammation, they support healthy hormone levels and cell membranes in the body. Omega-6, still under the polyunsaturated umbrella, is the sort of bad, try not have fat, and these are fatty acids which are still important to support healthy brain and muscle function, but on the downside they promote inflammation. So we've already got so much of this happening in the body that we don't really want more of this. Excuse me, just having a sip of water. We only need very small amounts of omega-6s. So yes, we do need them in the diet, but for much smaller quantities than our omega-3s, just because they are so involved in our everyday life as it is. You really don't want to try go out and look to eat more of them. So they, again, sort of in our baked foods, our packaged foods, our French fries, our breads, and our snacks. Corn, soybean, safflower, cottonseed, grapeseed, and sunflower oils are all very high in omega-6s and are not stable. And this means that foods that are fried, baked, and microwaved using these oils will create this oxidation and have this inflammatory response in the body, which we're not looking for. So omega-3s are the way to go for this one. And where to find these, the good ones, the omega-3s, are in flaxseed, clean salmon, and have less omega-6 fats. So these are the ones that we're looking for. We've got some sunflower and flaxseed oils. We've got walnuts. We've got flax seeds, as of the actual seeds and not the oil, as well as fish. Is a great one. Salmon being a great example. So this is where, obviously, these things are very limited and not great, to be honest. I mean, salmon is a big one that I love personally, but I definitely don't go around eating salmon every day, that's for sure. If you do, that's incredible, guys, because it does taste delicious, but is very much on the more expensive side. So this is where supplementation comes into place. And if anything, if you happen to not be taking anything, please take away from this presentation today that omega-3 tablets are readily available at shops, and they are incredible for you, and you can get your omega-3s from just a quick little tablet. So it's really, really good for you guys, and it just does so much for you. So the bottom line is make sure that you're reading your label. Sorry for the typo. Try eat as much as fresh food as possible. So your nuts, seeds, and veggies. Try not get your fats from any sort of processed foods, and try limit your processed foods as much as possible. Try eat grass-fed meat as much as possible, and question everything. So you really can't always trust everything that you see. Read your labels, read packaging, research anything that you might not be unsure about as far as fancy words are concerned. When things say hydrogenated or trans fat free and things like that, what does that all really mean? And don't, when you say swap your foods out, don't just swap to a sort of cheap refined carb. Rather try find switching a bad fat into a good fat. Obviously, just know your quantities, guys. Know that everything's got its limit, no matter how good or how bad for you. We do want to try stay away from the trans fats, but even from the saturated fats, they're not the worst. Just know your limits. Have an awesome day, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And please pop any questions on the group that you may have, considering sort of the fats that you're having, and if you're wanting to chat a little bit more about this. Having an awesome Friday, guys. I hope you are too. Have a great weekend, and we will chat soon over the weekend and today and whenever you want. I'm here. I'm here for you. Cheers, guys.